All right, guys, the Jazz break their losing streak and get a nice win tonight against, albeit it's the last place Houston Rockets in the Western Conference, but a win's a win, and the Rockets look pretty good. Ochai Agbaji, Lauri Markkanen. Let's talk about it. Hoops Nerd postgame show. All right, guys, I forgot. I shouldn't clear my throat during the intro. So welcome to live. Welcome to live. My throat is mostly gone. I don't feel incredible. But we're going to keep going. We're going to power through. We're going to do a show like Lauri Markkanen put on. Man, it's going to be tough. I'm already struggling, but we're going to do this. Flu game time, baby. Oh my gosh, this is going to be really hard. All right, guys, let's just, before we get into this, make sure you go check out Prize Picks. Go use promo code HoopsNerd at Prize Picks. Go download the app. It's incredible. Up to $100 for signing up. It's up to $100 match. So you put down $5, they give you $5 of free money to go. And if you're smart at basketball, then you go and you win easy money. It's fun. It's a blast. Go do it. It supports the channel too. So go to Prize Picks, use promo code HoopsNerd. I would appreciate it a lot. All right, guys, the Jazz played the Houston Rockets tonight. The Houston Rockets have won one of their last 10. They are a bad basketball team, but they do have a lot of talent. And I don't know what's going to happen with them, but my biggest prediction for them is they're going to have a new head coach at some point. That this head coach, Coach Silas, I just don't see it. I really don't. I don't know if it's just like this open system. I don't know if it's just the players can't coalesce and he doesn't have a way to make it happen, but they just don't really work. They're so young, and it's hard to win with really young teams. But, man, at a certain point, the talent has to match, and kind of meets a certain point where they start to really learn how to be winning players. And that's really up to the coach to make you a winning player. So we'll see if that can ever happen with Coach Silas. I don't know. There's a lot of reasons I just don't really see it, and I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but who knows? But Jalen Green, like we've talked about him before, I really like the idea of Jalen Green, but right now the idea of Jalen Green isn't matching what's on the floor. I mean, he shows these flashes that are so great. He's so athletic, and he's long, and he's got the body, and he's got kind of everything you'd want in a prospect, and then he goes out and he takes mid-rangers and he airballs them, and that could have been, I think tonight was a back end of a back-to-back for Houston. I'm not totally sure. So maybe that's a little bit of legs, but man, it's just, he hasn't really figured it out. The nice thing, if you're a Rockets fan, is he does get to the free throw line. Tonight he did, at least. 11 free throws, 10 for 11. This is the way you become an efficient scorer, when the shot's not falling. But you do have to have nights where the shot's falling, and he's been shooting not great from three, and just not a lot of great things are happening, and that's part of why the Houston Rockets are going to be top contenders for Victor Wembanyama. But yeah, 8 for 24, 4 for 12 from three. He did get to the free throw line, so that's nice to see. And he did have 4 assists, which looks like leads the Rockets. Whew. I really like Jabari Smith. I thought that was an interesting and nice pickup for them. He's a guy that you could plug in with a lot of different teams. Not really happening. Let me know in comments, Rockets fans, what you think of Jabari Smith this season. 11.9 points, 7 rebounds. What are the percentages here? 6'11". That's the thing that's crazy about him, is he's kind of got that same body type as Lauri Markkanen, where he's like tall, can shoot the ball. I'm not bringing this up. Not bringing it up, so maybe we won't. Come on, there we go. 30 minutes a game, which is nice to see him get those minutes. And he's shooting 33% from three. All right, so that's not horrible. This should get better with just a year under his belt. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see Jabari Smith have just a big second half of the season where he kind of figures out the three. Becoming an NBA player is really hard. And learning how to play every single night on 82 nights of the year is really hard. And so that's just an acclimation thing that all rookies have to do. And so he'll get there. Jalen Smith looks like he's figuring it out, but the scary thing is the numbers aren't quite there. Actually, let's do it with him too. I'm curious. Oh, man. The NBA site's not being nice tonight. We'll try one more time. Yeah, so he's obviously, his stats are good, but are the percentages, Let's see, 3-point percentage. It's actually gone down from last year. So this is a little, it's not time to start, worrying too much, but not a great sign. From the field down. So you're looking for him to be improving. You want to see that improved trajectory. And sometimes that's just coach. I don't know what years left Silas has on his contract, but he might not be there for long, to be honest. Because holy smokes, you would like to see, because I really like Jalen Green in the draft. He's kind of was a sure thing, and now it's not looking like it. And so that's the other thing with this Rockets team is I can go through here. Şengün, a lot of people like him, and you can see that he has a lot of different moves. 20 points, 14 rebounds. Those are like big-time numbers. And he was pretty solid with the plus-minus. Kevin Porter Jr. is kind of like just the same type of player as Jalen Green. They kind of do the same things. And their numbers are pretty similar. But Jayshawn Tate has looked nice for the Rockets. Usman Garuba, I loved in the draft. Could be a really nice defensive force, and he's just done nothing while he's there. And then we've seen Tari Eason show some real flashes this year of being a really nice player. I like Josh Christopher in the draft too, and he's not even playing. So I don't know what to think of this Rockets team, but they're not getting better. And that's what Aaron Gordon said, and he's right. Like, things aren't getting better. And they don't seem to know what they're doing on the floor. It honestly looks like junior Jazz out there. They don't know what to do and how to play and their system, and some of that's inexperience. But you know what? It's the coach's job to get them experienced and know how to do what they need to do. And so who knows? But that's my take on the Rockets. All right, let's talk about the Utah Jazz. The story of tonight is Lauri Markkanen. Holy cow, has Lauri Markkanen had a December. He has been remarkable. Let's go to Basketball Reference. And let's just look at the month of December for Lauri Markkanen. He's just been incredible. And I just can't say enough for what he's become, because he is just, and this isn't going to include tonight, obviously, so that's too bad. But if you go and you just look, here's from December, just for the month of December up until the 3rd, I guess we'll do this. For this, since December 2nd, so since the beginning of December, he is shooting 45% from three, 52% from the field. He is scoring 26.9 points per game in that time. This doesn't include tonight, so that's obviously going to go up. He's just been remarkable. 8.5 rebounds, 1.3 assists. And what I really love is that he brings like a nastiness to him. He has grown in confidence. He is enjoying basketball. He just is becoming a star. And I think it's honestly becoming he needed a performance like tonight to get on all the different, StatMuse and all those different sites. I think WOB was off tonight. Sucks for the Jazz, because it would have been nice to get some WOB coverage of Lauri Markkanen, but he's going to get that social media buzz, and a night like tonight could really lock him into an all-star spot. These types of numbers are just incredible. Look at this. 55% from the field, 40% from three, 13 for 13. And this is like 2 or 3 nights in a row where he is getting to the line over and over and over. This is superstar stuff. Oh, man, my throat, guys. But yes, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block. That block was nasty. Let's just take a look at that. This was just like, get out of here. I am Lauri Markkanen. Vitu! So he comes to there and he just knocks it out. Boom! Big time stuff from Lauri Markkanen. I love the attitude. He's fitting in. He looks happy. This team seems happy. Even though the Jazz are losing, they are still below 500. They're a happy team that plays a fun brand of basketball. And they're really like one piece away, one star away from being a really, really good basketball team. And so that's why you've got the argument of, do you lose? Do you win? Whatever. Right now, you have a cornerstone piece in Lauri Markkanen. You do. He is a perfect cornerstone piece to play with anybody. Well, that's one thing I love about Lauri Markkanen. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell is having an incredible season in Cleveland, and congrats to him. He's doing great. Good for him. Sometimes Donovan Mitchell kind of requires certain players around him, because He is an undersized guard, but he's so electric. You can really just make him your lead guard on almost every team. I mean, even teams like the Golden State Warriors would find a way to play Donovan Mitchell, you know? But for Lauri Markkanen, he's a player that can literally fit in with anyone. You know, if the Cavaliers brought in Lauri Markkanen, he'd be starting with them, playing in that 3 spot, and it would be incredible. With the Jazz, he's the lead guy, and he fits with everyone. That's one interesting thing about this season is we've talked so many times about, you know, Jared Vanderbilt or Walker Kessler or who needs to be on the floor. Kelly Olynyk, you know, all these different rotations the Jazz have been doing and trying. Ochai Agbaji, which we'll talk about in a minute. All these different guys have been changing. Mike Conley has been out with injury. Jordan Clarkson, Colin Sexton, all these different rotation changes. The one constant has been Lauri Markkanen. Why? Because Lauri Markkanen can play with anybody. You can put him on any team. He is versatile. He is offensively efficient, and he's turning into a solid defender. I don't know if you would call him a good, I mean, you could probably call him a good defender, but he's at worst an average defender, which is all you need. If he can be an average defender and then do this type of stuff offensively, this is incredible. Incredible. Plus 16, just dominant stuff. I really, really hope he makes the All-Star team because that is going to be really cool. The fact that Utah did what they did and then bring in Markkanen, he is one of the leaders for most improved player and honestly should be the most improved player because, I mean, most people had written Lauri Markkanen off. How many Jazz fans, when the Jazz got Lauri Markkanen, were like, oh, now we've got a sure All-Star, you know? And so just a remarkable story, fantastic for Jazz fans. And honestly, couldn't be happier for Markkanen, who just seems like he's enjoying basketball again and just didn't seem to be enjoying it in Chicago. And maybe he did a little bit in Cleveland, but now he's certainly, I mean, he just looks great. And so it's just something to be really happy about. Kelly Olynyk continues to kind of fall off a cliff a little bit. The beginning of the year when he was leading the NBA in 3-point percentage, it's not been the same. And so that's too bad because when Kelly Olynyk is hitting threes, it takes this offense to another level. When he's not, it's a little rough because he's not that great defensively. And it's just kind of tough. Tonight, 1 for 6, 0 for 3. He did have 4 assists. And this right here is why you like Olynyk. Say what you will. When he's on the floor, the ball moves and he makes plays and he helps make other players better. And that's the type of guy you like to have on the floor. You know? You just do. Do you want someone like a Kelly Olynyk that's on the floor and passing the ball to other players? Or do you want Kevin Porter Jr. just jacking up shots and not really passing to anyone and leading your team in negative plus minus? I'd probably rather have Kelly Olynyk. And he can also play multiple positions with multiple players. You can play Olynyk with all these different guys. So anyways, that's my little Olynyk thing. But tonight, not a good night. Vanderbilt is so much fun. We talk about this every night, but look at this. 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals. He's just a really fun player, and I love how he has 5 assists, and he's leading breaks, and he does so many different things. It's just offensively, in terms of shooting, it's a little bit of a struggle. But that's okay, because he's doing this stuff, and these things help you win. I mean, that's the name of the Jazz this year, really. It's just a team that is so versatile at every position. You have guys that can play or defend multiple positions. Lauri Markkanen can play 3 positions. Kelly Olynyk can play 2 positions. Jared Vanderbilt can guard all 5 positions on defense, and he does a little of everything on offense. Same with Jordan Clarkson. They can play multiple guard spots. And then you have Mike Conley, who's point guard. So that's basically what he does. But it's just a team that has so much versatility. And I'm sure going forward, those are the types of players the Jazz are going to bring in because they've seen a lot of success with it. And so it's just honestly, even when they lose, they're a fun team to watch. This season, you know, the Jazz are having a losing season. And I bet most of you who are watching this and who will watch this later are having more fun this year than last year, right? I know I am. Last year was awful, and the Jazz had a good record and went to the playoffs the second round. No, they didn't. They fell apart in the first round catastrophically. And I hated every minute of it. It was awful. This season, you have a team that plays hard, that switches, that plays defense. Well, they don't play defense. They suck at defense. But they're fun to watch. And that's what makes it fun. By the way, that's why this team is not winning more games. And that's the thing they need to figure out is the defensive aspect. Because let's go here. All right. I want to look at the standings 20 and 21. So still in that 10th spot. Basically, we're rooting for Minnesota to lose. I think the Jazz are going to make a trade at some point, but we won't talk about that until it happens, really. But let's see here. I want to show you this. The route to the Jazz getting better, because I think the Jazz really, this is what they need to think about. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do for next year. They're going to be too good to get their pick next year, so it's going to be interesting. In fact, I think the Jazz next year are going to try to get a pick next season. I wonder if the Jazz are trying to do that to get a first rounder next year because they don't have their first round pick unless they're in the bottom 10. So let's go here. Let's go to advanced and let's go look at offensive defensive ratings. The Jazz are the number 3 offense in the NBA still, and they're 19 and 21. Boston, who was absolutely blowing the doors off everybody, has come down to earth a little bit. Still in number 1. Denver Nuggets with Nikola Jokic, who is absolutely killing it and likely going to be getting a ton of votes for MVP. And then the 19 and 20 or the 20 and 21 or whatever what were they? 20 and 21? The Utah Jazz are number 3 still. And so this team knows how to score the ball. Scoring the ball is not a problem, and especially when you have Lauri Markkanen putting up absolutely incredible offensive numbers. Incredible. But it's also just the versatility of this team. They do so many different things on offense that make them hard to guard. The problem is this, defensive rating. We go here, bomb. Utah, 27 in defense. So they are just absolutely on opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of offensive defense. Look at this, the Houston Rockets, who we just played tonight, absolutely horrible, are just one spot lower than them. These are the 3 tanking teams, worse than the Jazz. San Antonio, Detroit, Houston, Utah. This is basically what we thought the lottery standings would be, right? When this season started, this is kind of what we thought. These were the teams. Interesting that Denver's down here. So it just kind of goes to show the Jazz offensively this year have been absolutely electric offensively to be where they are, because defensively they are not good. And so, and it kind of makes sense. If you're the number 3 offense, you're right, DWCB. It's basically like if you have the best offense but the worst defense, then that makes you about a 500 team, which, let's just open this in a new tab, which the Jazz are. 20 and 21, right in the middle. So the thing is that's really hard to do. I would almost argue that getting better, well, I don't know. I guess that's a debate for another day. What's easier, getting better defensively or offensively? It's hard to find good multiple defenders that can also score. That's when you have superstars. That's when you really get to another level. Cleveland is so good defensively because they've got Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. They've got Okoro. So they've got really good elite defenders. And those guys came at the top in the top 10. Okoro was like what, number 4? Evan Mobley was an absolute steal at number 3. And Jared Allen, they got in a steal for a trade. I mean, so they've just gotten really elite guys, but sometimes it just takes, say what you will about Harlabob and what his situation that happened with the Dallas Mavericks. That was weird as could be. But one of the things he said that I really agree with is the most difficult player to get, the guy that it's kind of like quarterbacks in the NFL. The guys that are just so hard that every team wants is those guys that can both be elite defenders on the wing, like lockdown defenders on the wing that can also score at an efficient level. And if they can not only score, but be a ball handler, playmaker type, that's when you've got yourself a superstar, is those types of guys. But those guys everyone wants. Those are the guys that just, you draft them high because you hope they become that thing, kind of like quarterbacks in the NFL, and a lot of them don't pan out. And so Utah is hopefully going to get a couple of those types of players in the draft, versatile wings that can handle and defend. And that's what you're hoping for in this draft. And the better you are, the more likely you're able to get a guy like that. And so let's hope that the Minnesota Timberwolves keep losing, because the Jazz right now, they are still going to probably, I think they're going to continue to kind of drop off. I mean, even this, they beat this Houston Rockets team who is putrid. They are terrible. They are so bad. And the Jazz were still, they had to pull away at the end, but that was a little closer than you'd like playing a bad Rockets team. Let's see. Walker Kessler played, and obviously he was good because Walker Kessler is really good. And we all know this. Walker Kessler is a fantastic story, and I love it. But you know what? It's time to give Rudy Gay's minutes to Ochai Agbaji, baby. Ochai Agbaji showed up big time. 4 for 5 from the field, 3 for 4 from 3. He dunked on fools. Let's watch that dunk. Cutting dunk shot right here. This is what gets you excited. And this is why you like Ochai Agbaji. Boom! This guy was like a player of the year or tournament or whatever in college at Kansas. He knows how to win. He is a guy that has athleticism and size. He has when I watch him play, he has that physical presence that some players have where you can just tell that they are strong and that they can be a good defender with strength. And I see that with him. And so that's why a player like Ochai Agbaji is exciting. Can he develop? And I can't remember who I was talking to about it. It might have just been with people on Twitter or whatever. There is a clear path for Ochai Agbaji to becoming a really nice player. I don't know if he's going to be an all-star or anything like that, but why couldn't he be like a Danny Green or like KCP or one of these guys that's just the standard typical 3-and-D wing or just a 3-and-D shooting guard? He's got nice size. He's physical. He's strong. You can tell, and he can knock the ball down with the 3-point shot. And then he shows athleticism like that here and there. So it's just this is not as hard for him to become a successful NBA rotation player, because knock down threes and defend. That's really all he's got to do. And the more confidence he gets, the more he'll start being able to move within the offense. I think it's not a coincidence that when Will Hardy says we're going to play Ochai Agbaji, and then Ochai Agbaji starts playing well. It's not a coincidence. It's some guys, they just need a little bit of that belief in them from their coaches. And once they get that and they know they don't have to look over their shoulder or they're not worried about making mistakes or whatever, once they get to that point, then they start playing well. And I think we saw that a little bit tonight. Agbaji has all of it that you want. Tools, the shooting, and he looks like he's got a chance to be a nice defender. I mean, he's got all of it. He's just got to have some confidence and really take it. And I could see why he'd have a little bit of trouble in this offense to do that, because it is what did they call it? And I think I kind of liked, I can't remember if it was Will Hardy or who it was that just kind of talked about the offense. They called it a equal opportunity offense, where it's like, if you get the ball and there's an open lane to the hoop, take it, go. But when you're a rookie and if you're a tentative guy and you're playing with like veterans like Mike Conley and Jordan Clarkson and guys like that who know how to score and have been doing this for a long time, and maybe you're tentative, you're probably a little worried to screw up. But with a little confidence in Hardy's equal opportunity offense, I think he can become really nice. And I honestly think if he becomes really solid, this Jazz team probably takes another step. Right? I mean, if he kind of does the things defensively the Jazz have been looking for, that's pretty exciting stuff. So really nice to see him be a +8 in this win and just get nice minutes in minutes that mattered. They weren't garbage minutes. They were like, the game was on the line, and Agbaji was in there, and he absolutely contributed to the win tonight. So really cool to see. And he actually, I know he only had 1 rebound tonight, but he'll make a couple rebounds a game where you're like, holy smokes. Holy smokes. So really fun to see, and I hope he just gets more and more minutes. I wonder, do we get tinfoil hat time a tiny bit? I wonder if they're playing Ochai Agbaji because maybe they think Malik Beasley might be moving in a trade, possibly. Maybe. Or maybe they just want to develop Agbaji because it's just, when you're losing games, if you're losing games and still not developing players, then what are you actually doing? The Jazz lost 5 games before this one. At a certain point, you're like, well, if you know, if Rudy Gay is not helping us win games, by the way, plus 10 Rudy Gay. If he's not helping you win games, then why aren't you playing Ochai Agbaji? By the way, Rudy Gay, just a reminder, nightly reminder, that Rudy Gay, when he's on the floor with Walker Kessler, it's a very high-level defense. Look at that. Those two being solid amongst these negatives, not a coincidence. They are one of the better defensive pairs in the league when you look it up. So that's why Rudy Gay plays. And nice to see Rudy Gay have a nice night offensively. Look at that. So anyways, I was just happy for Ochai Agbaji to play well. Jordan Clarkson continues to be one of the most consistent players in the league, and it's going to be an interesting trade deadline because I believe he's going to, let's see. I just want to see his contract because I believe next year is a player option for him. And they had talked to, yeah. So that's a player option. So that's why they've been starting talks to negotiate a contract for him. And he has every right to ask for a lot of money because Jordan Clarkson has been really, really good. Like really, really good. And so the Jazz are going to probably try to sign him. But one thing that Danny Ainge won't do is do a ridiculous contract. And so things might get interesting here in the next, because trade deadline is February 9th. That means we're just about a month away from that, a little over a month. Things might get interesting because he's probably going to opt out of his contract next year. How old is Jordan Clarkson? Does it say here? He's almost 31. So he's looking for his kind of last contract, I bet. And he's played it at such a high level that he deserves it. He's really good. So he's probably looking to get at least $20 million a year for maybe like 4 years. And I don't know if the Jazz are ready to give that, considering they're kind of turning the keys over to Lauri Markkanen, Walker Kessler, and whoever they draft in this draft and future drafts. So unless they can figure something out, maybe they can get Clarkson for like 15. I don't know. Maybe they can figure something out and keep him for a long time because that would also be really nice. But this is definitely a contract to watch before trade deadline because you don't want to lose him for nothing. And if they don't get a contract figured out by trade deadline, they might decide to just make a move because I don't know if, you know, if they wanted to pay him 20 or 25 million or overpay him, they'd probably have already done it by now, right? Because we got that news that they were doing negotiations. So this is one to watch for sure. Obviously, Mike Conley as well. Although we did get that rumor from Brian Windhorst that the Jazz are not looking to move Mike Conley. But we know that things change every day. So we'll see. I think the guys, if their Jazz are going to make a trade, probably the most likely are Olynyk, Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley, and I guess Jordan Clarkson too with his contract situation. Kind of just depends on what the Jazz want to do, what offers come in, and we shall see. All right, guys, that's about it tonight. Hopefully everyone had fun. The Jazz finally won. It's nice when the Jazz win, right? I enjoy it. It's fun. I would like one of these nice players, one of these nice wings. Brandon Miller is looking like an absolute stud. This draft is so good, guys. Cam Whitmore at 8. Are you kidding me? Can the Jazz get number 8? That'll make me so happy. Go look up Cam Whitmore highlights. And he's going 8. All right, let's see. Let's go let's the music on. Guys, I really would like another wing to go with Lauri Markkanen because I think this Jazz team has the makings really nice. And if they can hit on one of those wings and pair him with Markkanen, holy. Wouldn't that be cool? Oh, man. I thought it was up and it wasn't. I do this every night. I screw it up every night, guys. Okay, let's pull this up. By the way, if you haven't already, that video I did of John Stockton is doing really well on social. So go follow me on social. I'm going to start doing more and more of those. And we'll see how that goes. That would be so fun if we could grow even more. Maybe it was always social the whole time. I don't know. All right, guys. We'll reset this. The Jazz win tonight, so they lowered their standing. Well, actually, they stayed where they were from the other night. And the The Wolves won the other night. I was bummed. I was watching them, and they still won, even though I didn't want them to. They weren't listening to me. All right, let's see what pick we get tonight. Oh, it's pretty much chalk. Charlotte gets the #1 pick and Victor Wembanyama. Houston gets Scoot Henderson, who can come onto the floor and not know what to do under Coach Silas. Dang it. And so the Jazz end up with the 11 and the 13. What does that get us? Anthony Black, 6'7", shooting guard, small forward from Arkansas. And Dariq Whitehead, who has absolutely fallen off a cliff. I was watching his film because I was curious about this. He doesn't look great. He may turn into something, but he looks not great. Raphael was talking about Gigi. Where is he? Where is he? Gigi. His name's Gigi. Gigi Jackson. Look, this has not been updated recently. This guy's looking like an absolute beast. He's like one of those guys that could be a major steal. Go look up Gigi Jackson. He might be there for the Jazz. And he's looking like a real steal. Raphael, who has connections with Rudy's agent and with Wembanyama's agent and stuff, and has gone to all the places across to watch these guys, says he's his #5. So that's interesting. All right, guys, let's give a shout out to the All-Stars tonight. I'm going to reload this one more time just because I want to make sure we got it all right. Let's see. I usually do this before the show, but sometimes I get so excited to just do the show, I forget. I shouldn't do that. All right, let's give a shout out to our All-Stars. These are the guys making it happen, guys and girls. See ya, Alexa Later, Bill Ford Tough, Alexander Tufts, Jared Chanderbilt, Chan Therick, Jorge Arrizaga, mi amigo de Baco, Baby Elliott Matson, Jordan the GOAT, Best Roll, Just Buckets, JB, Zap Watts, extremely effective and efficient and good talented writer at SLC Dunk, TGD Total Game Domination, Christian House Money to Haas, Tyson Price, The Price is Right, X marks the spot for Zintas, Joshua Hansen, the Danish Destroyer, Ezekiel Raisibe, the man from down under, Austin R. Grant, editor extraordinaire, Donald Schooley, School and all of us, DW to CB, Darren Williams to Carlos Boozer, Patrick Akubo, the connoisseur, and Robert Hall of Fame. Yep, DW to CB, Cam Whitmore, 6'7" out of Nova. Very talented at ripping rims from the backboard. I tell you what, that guy looks like an absolute beast. Absolute beast. And if you could somehow get him on the Jazz, holy smokes, would that be fun. Just a physical, dominant presence. Guys, if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel. You can join the channel, become an all-star or a rookie or a starter. Whatever you want to do, I would appreciate it. It supports the channel. All of you, thank you for watching. Tell your friends, tell your family. Go to Instagram. I think it's linked on here somewhere. Go follow. Go follow on TikTok if you do that. I'm starting to do TikToks. More fun TikToks. Anyways, guys, I will talk to you next time.